everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val, and I am joined here with my good friend, Cody Bear. Cody, how are you?
I am fantastic, Val. How are you doing?
I'm really excited. I'm happy to be back also because I've been absent for a little bit. I have been sick, but now I am feeling much better and I am ready to jump in and jam. I'm super pumped because we have a few announcements about the show this morning. So as usual, for those of you who have been here for any of these episodes, you know the drill. But if anybody is new in the chat, this is the show where Cody and I have a little Mad Lib style or inspired prompt for you guys to vote on throughout the show. And we are going to basically be drawing whatever you folks direct us to draw. You guys get to be the creative directors of the show. And we will pop over there soon and take a look at what our prompt is for today. But if you are watching over on YouTube, rest assured that all of our polls are going to be thrown in that YouTube chat so you folks can vote. And if you are watching over on Behance, I would head over to the YouTube channel and either watch over there or pop out that chat so you can have yourself a cool little voting module as we go through the show so you folks can participate in the little prompt we've got going on. But another thing to let you folks know, we are going to be changing the title of our show. So as you look for future episodes, we have a placeholder title in today. I'm sure that you guys have noticed it says creative fill in, but we have a super cool reveal for a brand new title coming up pretty soon. And I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know if we should say what the title is going to be or if we should wait for the reveal. What do you think, Cody?
I was about to say we are going to fill in the title of the creative fill-in title for our fill-in show.
Yes.
I think we should just keep it a secret for now.
Yeah, I think so too. Ooh, secrets. So let's pop over and take a look at what our prompt is for today. We've got this is a robot or polar bear character, which I'm pretty pumped for, who wears a large sombrero or a tiny top hat. Fingers crossed for tiny top hat, honestly, because I mean, sombrero would be amazing as well. I think that could be like super cool designs and things to do. But I do love a good tiny top hat from Codi Bear. And they wear this hat, whichever hat it's going to be, while exploring the desert or asteroid field. So we've got some really interesting contrasting elements here. And our first poll is live over on the YouTube chat, so you guys get to vote. Is this going to be a robot character or a polar bear character? Head over there and let us know. I'm going to get started on a sketch while we kind of greet everybody who's filed in for today. I see General Kenobi. Hello there. She's altering the title. Pray she doesn't alter it any further. Catherine, welcome in. Jack Watson holding the fort in the chat. Thank you so much for being here, Jack. I see Oliver Andrews, Anthony Jackson. Good to see you. Keys, welcome in. Ariane, Carol Pearl, Lawrence, welcome in, folks. Clever Devlin, Sean Kosel, all the funny guys are in the chat this morning. So this should be good. And Alejandro, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming to hang out. So as we make our way through this, while we wait for our very first poll answer, I noticed that you have already gotten started with some really awesome forms and stuff. I see a very interesting silhouette of not just the robot and the bear you've got going on and the top hats and the sombreros, but you have this form in the background, and I'm thinking that it's probably that iconic form of the like desert rock formation.
Yeah.
But it also, to me, is the tippy top of a Star Destroyer.
Oh no, it does.
It is. That's the Star Destroyer bridge of the ISD Chimera. Yeah, the spooky Dorito.
Yeah. It does look like that. That's hilarious.
I approve. But I love the little robot. I think he's adorable. He has my whole heart, and he's not even fully realized yet. But I love that you've kind of started with some interesting forms. And I also love that these are going to probably be pretty different forms completely as we make our way through like the process here.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm kind of just like doodling for the sake of doodling, just to kind of like figure out, I guess, like you said, what my forms are gonna be. I don't always do that, but I just kind of felt like drawing all the little shapes and stuff. But I see you have a blob of sorts going on. What is going on over there? What do you got?
Well, I was thinking that like through the lens of, we're sketching, forms to kind of figure out how the illustration is going to go. And we're sort of like preempting the voting process, right? Which, by the way, we've got about 18 votes. And that to me seems like it's going to be probably a pretty good point to stop at for this. That's a lot. So we've got robot.
Oh, yeah.
It looks
74%.
Yeah, nice. But I was thinking, like, if I have to prep ahead of time to illustrate a character that's either going to be a robot or a bear, what is like the perfect shape to go for when I don't know what the answer is going to be? Right. And honestly, Baymax.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a Baymax type body because he was a robot, and it also, kind of looks like a bear. So we've got robot, and now I can kind of alter it just a little bit. And I'm kind of liking where it's going. I do like that you have like, you're kind of starting with this head shape and body shape that has like hovering parts.
Yeah, I was thinking
really cool.
about kind of like, I don't draw robots very often. So I kind of like to try to keep it simple. And I also have my husband's been playing Fallout lately, so I kind of have like retro futurism on the brains. So yeah, I don't exactly know where I'm going with this yet, but I guess we'll find out.
I think that it could be really cool to do like, because it's going to be a robot, but giving it like an amorphous type body that still mimics the human form, I think is like a great way to go, which is essentially like kind of what you're doing, of like giving it those landmarks of it being a character's body, but still keeping it so loose that it doesn't register as perfectly human right when you look at it. Like you can tell where it's looking. You can probably get a lot of gesture out of those base components and still kind of keep it pretty unique. Steampunk robot with a top hat. Don't play, because we could do a steampunk robot, or if it ends up being a sombrero, we could do like a hovering robot with like a poncho kind of blowing in the wind behind it.
So cute.
I wonder if it would look cool to give him like a little jet underneath.
Yeah.
Like he goes fast. That could be cool. Let's see, we've got about 13 votes. I'll give you guys a few more minutes to kind of get your votes in for whether we're going for a tiny top hat or sombrero. Will he be very, very cool, or will he be a gentleman?
A gentleman. Little gentleman.
I'm wondering if I kind of like the idea of the head being like a screen too.
Oh yeah. There's so many things you can do with robots, man. It's just like endless.
Could make it like the 90s bot.
Yeah.
You know, like those, you remember, yeah, I'm sure you remember. Um, I'm dating myself here. The like computer lab in school.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
And like after a while we had those Mac computers that you could see through and they had like the colors, you know,
Uh-huh.
but for the most part we had those god awful like box computers with
Yeah.
the off-white plastic that always
Oh,
turns
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yellowish
yeah.
green over time. I don't know what the deal was with that, but like those are the computers that I remember as a kid, and like it would be fun to give it that kind of vibe. All right, we got another 18 votes for our hats. Let's see, what do we got? Do, do, do. Wow, that was pretty close. We've got, so Tiny Top Hat wins, but it's 52 to 47. Also, welcome in Ryan Toon and Paul Edwards over on the YouTube chat. It's good to see you. The poll is very close. Yes, indeed, Jack. Cody, that's so Jetsons. Very cute.
Thank you.
The Jetsons is like a really great place to draw inspiration for this.
It
honestly.
is. It's actually another example of retrofuturism, just in a different way, actually. I love retrofuturism. I absolutely love it.
We've got another poll up to find out if our robot is exploring the desert or the asteroid field, which honestly I feel like opens up for a lot of really, really great visuals, right? Because you could do like those rock formations, sort of like how you started your sketch. But the asteroid field, I think, opens up for a pretty extraordinary kind of abstract background.
Yeah.
Right? Like hovering elements rather than putting them in a scene if you don't want to do like a full background. I'm also curious to know if anybody at home is illustrating alongside us, how would you guys interpret the elements that we have had voted on so far? And would you do it the same way that Cody and I are approaching ours right now? And if they differ, let us know how they would be different. Yellowing plastic is probably the most authentic aesthetic. Is it not? Isn't it not? Whenever I see that color, I think of Oregon Trail.
Yeah. So true.
Vinegar and sodium bicarbonate to turn that yellow from old PCs back to bright off-white. That would be a good idea. I'm also not surprised that this suggestion comes from somebody in chat named Keys. I have one of those, I don't even know what it's called, to be perfectly honest. I should know the name of it because it's really cool that I have one. I've got one of those Macs where the entire unit is just the monitor box, and they're like tiny, and it has like a little bitty screen like this big, and it has a place to put the old floppies, like the old floppies, and then it has a little mouse with one button click that plugs into the back of it, and it still has Oregon Trail on it. And when I was little, my mom used to use like a word processing software on it, and she would install the word processor to use it for work, and then she would uninstall it at the end of the day so that she could play, so it had enough room on it to play Oregon Trail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's great.
The good old days when a game download was like 1 KB.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I have an interesting form here. I feel like it could be for sure like cleaner, and we're gonna fix that. But he's gonna have, he's gonna have his little hand up at the top, kind of like tipping his hat to you. And then I'm gonna make it pretty. I'm at that stage where you're like, don't worry, guys, I can draw. I promise. Just give it a minute. And you have like a whole...
It's gonna be ugly for a while.
He's precious.
Oh,
He's precious, Cody.
thanks.
Every time you draw something for the show, I feel like now this is the thing that must be protected at all costs.
This is pod racing.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Now this is bot drawing.
All right. Are we going to a desert or an asteroid field, folks? What's it going to be?
It's a very good question.
Yeah. Looks like we are going into... We got about 15 votes.
I absolutely love your top hat with the hand. It reminds me of Claptrap from Borderlands. It's very Claptrap.
Oh my gosh. I love Claptrap. Claptrap has the same vibe as another one of my favorite, like, kind of droid types. And that is Chopper from Star Wars Rebels. It's like that, like this, like, ramshackle, you know, like, strange little guy, like a Wally vibe.
Yeah.
You know? Like he's a little box dude, and honestly, he's not optimized for like any kind of impressive maneuvering at all. He's a bot clearly that has one specific job, but he's not doing that job with his body.
He's not good at his job.
No, he's not good at the job at all, but he's making it work so that his dreams can come true, you know? Okay, this is the vibe right here. And now, before your very eyes, I shall prove that I can draw after all. That's what we'll do. Maybe a bow tie? Oh, stop.
A bow tie.
Oh, stop.
Oh my
Look at this distinguished gentleman. Look at him. I
still need to draw my top hat. I just realized I haven't drawn a little top hat yet. I need to figure out, actually. I gave him a little antenna, but...
His antenna is perfect. I feel like it shouldn't be a bow tie. I feel like it should be like a plastic piece that's shaped like a bow tie.
CJ in chat said Cody should put her tiny top hat on top of the antenna.
Oh my gosh. Make our dreams come true. Like the little car antenna things where there's like a little...
Like, yes. Oh my gosh. So instead of a little ball on the top of his antenna, it's the top hat.
It's the Jack-in-a-Box guy with a top hat on it.
It's the top hat.
Oh my gosh.
There it is. It's here. It has arrived.
Oh my gosh. Look at him. It's perfect.
Perfect.
Dude, okay. I'm sorry, but your hats keep getting smaller and smaller and cuter every episode.
They keep getting smaller. Unintentionally. They keep getting smaller.
It's never planned, guys.
No.
We've never planned it to be this way. But here we are.
That's so funny.
I hope that you guys can't hear it, but my neighbor's dog is singing us the song of his people. The song of Go Away Garbage Truck.
I know it well.
Yeah, it's a really intricate tune.
Yeah.
And very long, unfortunately, but he's given it his best try right now. Thimble-sized top hat, yes. Llama Mama, welcome in. A cravat or tails? Oh, don't tempt me.
Tails, oh my gosh.
Don't tempt me.
Okay. I need to figure out how I'm going to place my little friend into our scene here. I don't know. He does have like a little Jetsons body, so maybe he's just like he's just floating about. He's fluttering about, exploring.
He's very like in motion.
Yeah.
And I do love that. Okay, if I gave this guy tails, I think I would want to do it. This is gonna be weird for a second. This is going to be strange. Okay, if I gave him tails, I would want it to be like that, and then put the rest of the body sort of around him. And I'll have to do kind of what I did. I guess I explained this the last episode. Like sometimes I will do something that's supposed to be in the back, and then I will then need to like kind of start a new layer on a lower opacity so that I can keep that visual identifier in mind while I start to add stuff over the top of it then.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do things. So we're going to take the idea from Llama Mama, give him some little tails hanging down behind his little boost fire. And then we're going to turn this on a lower opacity. And we are going to add in the rest of the identifiers he needs. What time is it, by the way? Oh, we've only been hanging out for 20 minutes.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Nice. That always feels good when we actually like are feeling like we're doing good with our sketches, and it's like, it feels like we're gonna run out of time, but really we actually have been doing pretty good. So yeah, that's a good feeling. It's a great feeling. It makes me feel like I do actually know what I'm doing. I feel like I like to talk about that feeling as often as possible, because I think that like when you're learning how to draw, you assume that knowing how to draw feels like you're never confused about what you're doing, and that's not true. Yeah. Like, I feel like I've been drawing professionally for over a decade, and I think every time I sit down to draw, I there's a moment, however long or short, where I'm like, do I know what I'm doing? Totally. You know? So if you're feeling that feeling at home, please know that like that's something that a lot of people go through, no matter, what part of their artistic journey they're in. It just kind of happens. I'm gonna make this smaller, and I'm gonna start sort of plotting out. Carol said it's definitely like Rosie the robot made from the Jetsons. Oh yeah, I love her she's got like a little half apron. It's really cute. I can't recall, because I know, like, I can see the Jetsons in my head, but I can't recall specifically Rosie. I'm gonna Google that. Oh yeah. When I was little, I used to think her head was a roll of toilet paper. I used to think, I was like, that's a weird head shape, but it's kind of a perfect design, because it gives her like this rounded sort of head while still keeping her in like robot perspective, which is kind of cool. I wonder, no, we won't do that. Trying to really visualize some perspective here, and sometimes that goes well and sometimes it doesn't. Actually, that might be going well. Whoops. Good job, Val. Wow, I actually did something I wanted to do. Incredible. Look at me go. Yeah. Look at me giving it a good try. Wow. Okay, I want to do like screen. His head's really big. I don't know if his head really should have been that big, but I can also
change it since I have kind of designed him to be a little different.
Llama Mama says the asteroid in front of Cody's robot reminds me of a turtle. It's like a Rorschach test. You just have to figure out the shapes. It's like cloud watching.
I think the asteroids are adorable, and I love that like everything is hanging down like he's on the set of a school play. Thanks. And everything, you know, everything is like hovering and attached. Like I don't know how, like, it makes me feel like he's having fun, you know, like he's made this cool little place for himself. I don't know if that was intentional.
It was, yeah. I actually used to do this a lot with my work when I was younger, like in high school. I used to have this fascination with making everything look like it was like made out of cardboard or like in a play or something, because it kind of just like feels like this cozy little space, like a crafted space almost. Yeah. And I haven't done it in a very long time, but I just thought of it while I was figuring out my scene here. So yeah.
Well, I think it's perfect.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome, friend. Okay, I put his face higher up on the monitor and made his eyes closer to his mouth. And I hate this expression for him, but I love it for me. Like, I love... He's like, not sure if I want to be here, but here we are.
He also kind of looks like he's almost like looking over someone's table at their snacks. Like, what you got over there?
Yeah. Let me get a sip though. Let me taste that. I also think I'm gonna make cause like with his body type, his arms are not really like, I can't really do arms that are in proportion without having to make them strange. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make his arms like not like rope, but like extendo arms, kind
Noodle
of like
arms.
Yeah, like noodly,
Go-Go Gadget arms.
Exactly, Go-Go Gadget. Because like maybe his job is like he's in the asteroid field and he collects, you know, particles or something. I don't know. So he needs like these extendo arms, and he like reaches out and grabs them, pulls them into the box.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's the vibe. So let's give him his little top hat and his little extendo. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. That's looking good to me. That starting to make sense. Starting to give him a story. Your guy, I don't even think that my heart needs a story. I love him on sight.
Aww.
You know? I do. I mean, does he have a story though?
I don't know. I don't know how he got here. Like, chat. Like, what? I don't know. He looks very he seems to like exploration, but maybe he hasn't been to space. Maybe he wants to go to space, and because he hasn't been to space, he made this space for himself.
Yeah.
You know, like he loves the idea of space exploration.
One of these days he's gonna get there.
Yeah. Out there. Makes me think of WALL-E.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like WALL-E is great reference for today. Yeah. Dude, real talk, watching WALL-E made me really introspective. Like, it's one of those movies that was like for kids that made me like care about my planet a little more, you know, and really think about it. And I feel like that's a serious art to like, you know, present this goofy story and like make you feel that way, and likewise like present these like little, you know, like this little box guy and like make you love him so much.
Yeah, the expressions and animation that they were able to achieve with WALL-E is so incredible. He's such a good character design.
I love him. I am gonna go out on a limb and just decide canonically that my robot's vocal programming sounds a lot like the "Hello, my darling, hello, my
Yeah.
baby."
He needs a cane.
Yeah.
Like a
Oh my gosh,
vaudeville.
we could do it. We could do it. He's got another hand. Maybe Robo Joe was bonked on the processor too hard by an asteroid and is now bewildered, wandering. Which one is Robo Joe?
Who's Robo Joe?
Is it
That's
me?
what I want to know.
Maybe it's maybe is am I mine might be Robo Joe, and then like he has a job he's supposed to be doing out there, but he thinks he's a performer now.
Right. He got deprogrammed incorrectly.
Yeah,
yeah.
Now he wanders the abyss searching for the rest of his quartet.
Oh no.
Okay, I like this. I think this is good. We're gonna start making him sort of normal. Oh, we have to add his tail, so then add his tails.
Can't forget the tails.
A gentleman needs his tails.
Indeed. Indeed.
I'm wondering if I should do like make them curled, if they will still register as tails if they're curled. Maybe give him his bow tie back, and we'll see. Maybe a little more curl like that. I think that'll work. We can make that happen. Okay. Let's jam with some polygonal lasso tool.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fancy. I am going to start randomly selecting shapes and forms, and we are going to put him together. I'm gonna grab some random gray colors. Let's do this underneath here, and then just start kind of adding them in here, and we will select colors later. What kind of colors are you going to use?
I don't know yet. I was actually sitting here just thinking about that right now. I was like, I don't actually know what color palette I want to use. A lot of the time, like with space exploration, I have a tendency to think about like primary colors or like off primary colors, like maybe like vintage primary colors kind of makes me think of like vintage like 70s space exploration kind of time. But I don't know.
I feel like that kind of saturated, like the stuff that makes you think about that, like the 60s infographic kind of vibe, you know, which is like it's like an incredibly distinct style. And it was like this time of like everything is bright, everything is saturated, and nobody was like getting a headache. I don't know how that happened, but it actually does make for like a really interesting sort of vibe if you pull it off.
Carol says, Cody, yours would be fun to animate and express with all the elements. Oh, so true. Yeah.
Indeed. Get his little boost in here. Bring that up and around. Use a little flameo, which is the scientific term for
Flameo.
flames that are cool. Obviously, naturally, you know.
As you do.
Yeah. And let's get his little arm in here. Oops, wrong thing. You ever, you're selected on the wrong tool and it's like the problem you're experiencing is your fault, but you start like cursing Photoshop? Like,
yeah.
why don't
Oh,
you do
Photoshop?
Why aren't you doing what I need you to do, Photoshop? And Photoshop's like, do better, Val.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're right. You're right. My bad.
Sorry, Photoshop.
My B, Photoshop. I've done that like on a personal live stream before. I was like, why is Photoshop glitching? And it's my fault because I still have a selection going with the selection marching ants turned off, and I don't know why my brush isn't writing where I tell it to write.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that a lot.
Thanks, Photoshop. And Photoshop's like, what? What? I'm seeing Codi's as orange and egg white and Val's as dark blue. Those are cool. But I feel like, you've got like this beautiful purple color going. I feel like an off-white with like a hint of yellow could actually end up being really bright and lovely in there. And I think it also kind of lends itself to that like space kind of vibe.
Just the cream color, the off-white color we were talking about earlier on the computers, Yes. It feels very like vintagey. It's
taking over.
About it. Yeah.
It's coming back. Maybe they were onto something back then. Although I did like though the see-through computers. There was like this whole era in the 90s where everybody was like, what if you had the same stuff we've always had, but it was see-through?
Yeah.
Like
controllers.
Phone. Yeah, the see-through controllers that like everything was coming out with like this, like they just made all the plastic clear so you could see everything that was happening inside. And it even got to the point where like I feel like items that typically were not super intricate on the inside were like adding other stuff to see through the clear plastic that made no sense, which is kind of hilarious. Okay. I'm feeling like I'm in my Kronk era. It's all coming together. Oh, yeah. Did you know, side note, speaking of Kronk, I think Emperor's New Groove is coming to Broadway.
Is it?
I think so. Either it's coming to Broadway or someone who looks exactly like Cusco made his own promo.
Oh my gosh.
As a joke and said it's coming to Broadway, in which case we need it to come to Broadway.
Yeah.
But because the music in the film was already incredible and amazing, and if we could just harness
that film is so underrated.
Oh my gosh.
Me and CJ quote Kronk probably more than anything else.
Cusco's poison, the poison for Cusco. Dude. It is probably one of my favorite films. I think everybody should have at least one favorite film that's just funny and silly, and that one's definitely mine. Oh no. Okay. Emperor's New Groove is by far my favorite animated film. It's amazing. Question for Codi: why are you coloring instead of putting a layer of color in back? That's a good question.
So why am I painting over top of it with this brush? Basically, is that what the question is? Am I understanding that correctly?
I think, yeah, like why are you using this technique to paint around the edges of the asteroids rather than putting a color in the asteroids specifically, I think?
So the reason that I do that, it's probably hard to tell using these dark colors right now, but the reason that I do that is because of the texture in the brush. By painting around each of the objects, it allows it to look a little bit more traditional because in traditional work, of course, you only have one layer.
Mhm.
So when you're painting with real paints, you would naturally paint around objects, and those brush strokes would be seen on your work in the end.
Mhm.
So to give your work a little bit more of a traditional look, even if you don't necessarily only use one layer, because I don't, um, just because it makes it easier on myself if I don't use one layer. But to make it look like I use one layer, I paint around everything. And instead of just simply leaving my background as like a paint bucket color, at painting it back in over top of this underpainting, basically, will add that texture back to the background and make it look like it was hand painted.
I love that. I love that. That's a really great, and almost like it kind of gives that vibe of like those, you know, those stamps you kind of carve out where
Mm-hmm.
it and you stamp it down and it looks like everything was like dug out on the
Yeah.
one surface rather than an intricate layering of different elements coming together, more like a risograph, which I
Yeah.
think is like kind of like the traditional Photoshop of like doing all the different layers and stuff. So it kind of brings it together as like one organic type thing, and has that element to it, which I think is really really textury and buttery. You
Mm-hmm.
know, has its own like buttery kind of vibe, which I like.
If you guys are curious what brush I'm using, I am using the Gouache Supreme Opaque. And this is in Kyle Webster's paint box, so that it would be in his mega pack. And if you guys have a CC subscription, all of Kyle Webster's brushes are free. All you have to do is right click when you have the brush on and go up to the gear icon and then go down to get more brushes, and it will open up your browser, so you can download all of his brushes for free.
Nice. I think that there are some like Kyle brushes that are really fun to experiment with, and then some which have become like literally I don't know if I would be able to survive without them.
Yeah,
Like I don't know if my
seriously.
art would be the same. I'm gonna do a little some of this, kind of.
Llama Mama says, do you use blend modes with that technique? Nope, I hardly ever use blend modes. The only time that I really ever use blend modes is if I want to add lighting, and like a glow effect, and I'll use
Mhm.
the overlay blend mode for that. But otherwise, I try to not use blend modes, again because I'm trying to go for more of a traditional look, and blend modes sometimes have a tendency to look a little bit more digital.
Mm.
So I try to keep it as like almost pure, I guess, in a sense, for lack of a better term, to like the truest like form of the brush instead of like
Mhm.
altering the brush afterwards,
Mhm.
which can have its difficulties. Like if I'm having difficulty with color, because I know like a lot of artists will use blend modes to kind of like add contrast or something like at the end, to
Mhm.
kind of like unify their colors. But I try to figure out the colors along the way instead of using blend modes at the end.
Nice. Yeah. I think that makes sense. I think blend modes really are, you know, um, it can be really detrimental to a piece sometimes to add too much blending mode kind of stuff because if you're not used to them too or and stuff, sometimes it can actually remove a lot of the texture that you see because the contrasting like shadows and highlights in a piece, especially if you're using one of those brushes that has those settings that kind of makes it like pop out almost like it's oil paint or whatever. I did some illustrations in Fresco that kind of had that vibe to it, and then
Mm-hmm.
I use a lot of blending modes
Mm-hmm.
in my work, and when I went over and tried to like do those blending modes over the top, it kind of sucked that texture right out of it because
Mm-hmm.
it started evening out those shadows and stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna have to paint this in full color. I'm not gonna be able to do this. That's
Yeah.
kind of wrecking my plan here. Um, I am also adding some asteroids to mine as well. And right now I think they look like little disco balls.
They do. It's part of his act, okay?
Yeah, okay. That's perfect. And I'm also realizing as well that we have got maybe 10 minutes.
Really? Oh my
Yeah, I
goodness.
feel like we look and it's like, oh, we have tons of time left. And then we
Yeah.
look again and it's like, where have we been?
What have we done?
Yeah. I am now going to start dunking in some color. All right, somebody said that this looks like it should be like blue, like dark blue. So we are going to, oh, I have my color set. My color was not. Quick tip. I just did this by accident, and I was confused for a moment, and I realized that you guys probably want this tip. This is something that the wonderful, talented Stevie Ray Drawn shared with me. If you are adding colors to your piece, like I am here, I'm going to come in and like start throwing around some interesting shapes and things, or some interesting hues and stuff into my work. If you're starting to, add color into your piece and you start to notice that like maybe the colors are looking a little bit muddy, things are not coming together as well as you had hoped, you need to kind of check the difference between certain shades, various hues and things. A great way to do that, as you've probably seen other people do, is like checking the black and white contrast, like the values against each other. That, however, can be a little bit difficult as you move through your piece, because you might end up having to make yourself kind of a separate layer that will alter, like with a blending mode, alter your piece into black and white so you can check easily. There's a lot of different techniques to do this, but I like to set up a hotkey for it, which, if I remember right, I haven't done this in a long time, but I want to see if I can do it. I have, now that I've got some color dunked in here, with Control Y, I'm flipping between grayscale and color in my piece very easily. And if I remember right, if you go to View, Proof Setup, and Custom, you'll get this little customized proof condition. And if you change it to working gray gain 20% and hit OK, then whenever you hit Control or Command Y, it'll flip back and forth between actual colors and the different values of grayscale. So I can see like this is getting a little bit muddy, honestly. I feel like I should grab a different blue. So if I come over here back into color, maybe I will select this blue and maybe we'll make this a little bit lighter. I can actually go back into my grayscale here and I can, oops, let's make sure I'm selected on the proper layer here. I can add that lighter color, that maybe I was looking for and check it with the values. But when I come back into color, you can see I'm actually still continuing to work in color. It's just changing, the visual, which would be why, that comes through the view window rather than not. So it's actually really, really easy to be able to check your values as you go along. I love using this technique. It's really saved me a lot of time and effort moving through my piece. So
yeah, that's really helpful. It's so funny, like I've heard so many artists give so many different ways of checking values, and a lot of the time I forget how to do it, but I'm definitely going to implement that.
I think that it's one of those techniques where like if you get used to it, you can kind of start to slowly chip away at like massive amounts of time in your process. And it's like maybe on its own, it's not one of those like, oh my gosh, wow, super fast worker kind of things. But like when you start to acquire these tiny things over time, you start to shave like 45 minutes and off your workflow. thinking maybe this needs to be darker, like the tails under there. Okay, and what are we doing on time? We got about 5 minutes, probably. I think this is another one of those that I need to kind of work with off screen, but I feel like this is in a good spot though.
Yeah, it looks great.
Like I feel like I've got his form in. He's kind of like, yeah. And I'm having fun with it. Yours is like got this beautiful atmosphere that I'm just living for right now. I want to be there. I want to see his show. I want to see his show.
Maybe they're in the same show. They're just different acts.
Yeah, honestly, let's make it canon that these are like traveling robots that do a show together. And his is really soft and sweet, and mine is like, you know, like a quartet, but just you know. But he has 4 voices. Is the vibe, you know.
He's a one-man band quartet.
Yeah. This may be coincidental to the subject matter of the illustrations, but I'm getting this through Starlink. I don't know what Starlink is. Am I supposed to know what that is? I don't know.
It is a type of internet, I believe. That's like a satellite type of internet.
That's amazing. Honestly, very on brand. Very, very on brand. I like it. Do you finish these and post them somewhere? We should. I think
we should. I don't always finish mine. I have posted, I think I posted the first one that we did, the little mushroom guy. I think I finished a couple of the other ones, but I haven't posted very much to Instagram lately, but
yeah, we need to. If you follow us on Instagram, we are working on posting them. There's going to be some interesting social media posts coming up pretty soon because, like I said, we are going to give our show a retitle and a very slight overhaul. So maybe we can say, like, if you give us a follow on social media, and we are going to start posting over there. So you can see the ones that we have finished, that we've done. And if you are interested in participating with us and you'd like to post your work to Instagram, please do, because we would love to see what you come up with. And we'd also love to be able to show the work that you folks do maybe alongside us on this show. On our future episodes. So let us know if you have been working alongside us. Give us a little peek at the stuff that you're working on, and we'll give you a little shout out, let people know where they can follow you as well.
Yeah.
I actually just added a little shine to the screen, and it already looks super cool.
Yes, that adds a lot, actually. It totally makes it, he totally looks like a computer monitor. Like, he just...
Yes!
Yeah.
I'm actually really happy.
That looks great. That looks great.
Thanks, Cody. All right. This is our distinguished gentleman and our sweet baby boy. We do have to come to a close here today, folks. So I'm going to zoom out here so we can kind of get a full view of both of our little guys. I'm loving how they turned out, honestly. Yeah. I never once thought that I would find myself drawing a ragtime kind of like dancing robot in space with a top hat, you know. But I'm glad that I did.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
I'm glad that I did. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for voting on the polls. Please give Cody and myself a follow over on Instagram if you'd like to see some of the future pieces and the past pieces that we've done. Also give the Adobe Live Instagram a follow because you'll be seeing some cool content coming over there as well. Keep up to date on all the things that are happening here on Adobe Live. Please stay tuned because the day is not over. We are just the very start of Fridays here on Adobe Live. We've got plenty of awesome content coming up next, and Cody and I will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.